This spring, get the amazing iPhone XR on us when you bring your family to T-Mobile and trade in your old device. You'll be snapping, streaming, and sharing to your heart's content. Visit a store or call 1-800-T-Mobile and get an iPhone XR on us.
Via 24 monthly bill credits for well-qualified customers plus tax. Qualifying trade-in, service, 2 or more lines and finance agreement required. Contact us before canceling or credit stop and remaining balance due. 64 gigabytes 0 down plus $31.25 per month for 24 months. Pre-credit price $749.99, 0% APR, 1 offer per account.
Hey, they've been wrong about the wars. They've been wrong about jobs. They've been wrong about everything. And the question is, are they stupid? The question is, are they stupid or do they have a plan?
Question I asked you last time, I said, and some people were shocked. If you were racist, you knew why I was asking you that. Are you racist?
Thought, Ivanka's going to be our saving grace. You know, when he's about to fucking nuke Finland or something, she's going to walk into the bedroom and, you know, Daddy.
Have you seen any evidence that this dirt, these emails, were ever given to the Trump campaign?
Not so far.
What difference at this point does it make?
Warning, everything I say is fucking crazy and should not be reinterpreted or reenacted because you will be either shot or NDAA'd. Warning. Learn the meaning, the true meaning of words and symbols with none other than Jordan Maxwell next. Oh, and the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming.
So depressed. I don't know what to do. Hey, go for it, man. It's easy for you to say you got the promotion. Look, it'll come, all right? Just don't worry about it.
The feeling is definitely there. It's a new morning in America. Fresh, vital. The old cynicism is gone. We have faith in our leaders. We're optimistic as to what becomes of it all. It really boils down to our ability to accept. We don't need pessimism. There are no limits.
It figures it would be something like this.
Listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. It is April 16, 2018, and I'm speaking with the teacher, the master, a preeminent researcher for over 50 years in the occult sciences, Mr. Jordan Maxwell. Really needs no introduction. Here he is, Jordan Maxwell. Hello, Jordan.
Yes, sir. Nice to be with you again.
It's nice to have you. Thank you for being on, Jordan.
It's always a pleasure.
It's great to have you on. So I'm watching the news lately, like every American, and all this propaganda about Syria. I mean, are they following the Bible, Jordan? Didn't they say they were going to burn Syria in the Bible? What's going on with that?
Yeah, well, I don't follow the news, so I'm really not to anything that's in the news today because I don't follow the news.
Oh my goodness!
Understood. But the reason why is because today, 99% of what we hear is all propaganda, and the rest of it just pure lies. So I concentrate on what has happened in the past, and the ancient past, and in the prehistoric world, and how it affects us today. And so that's what I'm mostly interested in, how we're being affected today by the ancient world.
Right. Absolutely. And Jordan, I want to ask you this question here. The man has always been asking themselves, who am I? I did a little research. I looked into the AM. That's like a radio frequency. So who am I? Am I a frequency, Jordan? What do you think of that?
Well, it is said that the Hebrew name for God, Yahweh, it can be translated the I am, and that God is the I am. But that's not true. It's not correct at all. And so the AM, basically, I think so, therefore I am.
Right.
Meaning I am here. I am alive. I am thinking. I am talking. So I am here. I am. And so some Bible preachers talk about Jesus, that he is I am. He is the I am. But no, he just said I am. And so that means something being translated incorrectly. But I don't think we really have to worry about the implications about God in our lives, because 100% of everything that we know about God today from theology is not true anyway. Jewish, Christianity, and Islam have no idea in the world about the subject of God. They come up with whatever they want. They are their own teachers, so they write the story and then they give it to us, and we're supposed to believe it.
Right. I saw something extremely bizarre, Jordan. While I was going into these synagogues, and I'm looking up at the menorah, and they're literally shaped like donkey penises. And then I looked in the Bible, and it's referred to as the knob. I mean, this is insane. So the menorah is a bunch of donkey penises.
Well, there's a lot more implications in the symbolism of Judaism than you have even begun to know.
All over the world, they seem to be obsessed with this phallic.
Yeah, that's right.
Phallic symbolism.
Let me give you an example. You have something called the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a terrible feedback on this. I'm getting a very bad feedback. Every time I talk, I'm hearing something very loud come back at me.
Oh. Okay, well, we're streaming live right now, Jordan, but you're coming in good. You're coming in good, but...
okay, well, I'll go on with what I was saying. That in the Ten Commandments, we're told that Moses went up into the mountain, the Sinai, Mount Sinai, and there he confronted God. God was up on Mount Sinai, and God appeared to Moses, or communicated with Moses, in something called a burning bush. And there are many, many pictures in religious books and magazines about the man Moses, and he's standing in front of a bush and it's burning. And then God talks to him through the burning. And so,
yes.
And so today what we are told is the Ten Commandments. We all think of Charlton Heston coming down in the movie The Ten Commandments. He's coming down two big pillars of big stone pillars with the Ten Commandments written on them. And so they're big slates of rock. Well, that's not correct at all. That's not what the Bible says. The Scripture says that the reference works. When you go to the Bible reference works on Ten Commandments, it will tell you that when Moses came down from the mountain, he was not carrying two slates and two big plates of rock with Ten Commandments on it. It says that Moses came down from the mountain with 2 small round stones that you could carry in the palm of your hand. 2 small round stones. And those 2 round stones, some of the Bible experts today are talking about that there were 2 small round stones, but on each one of those stones was written the 10 Commandments, identical. So one round stone had the 10 Commandments, but the second one was an identical 10 Commandments on the second stone. And so some of the writers and Jewish writers today are saying that the reason why there were 2 round stones is because according to Jewish law, the way it reads in Jewish law, that you have to have 2 witnesses to anything. And so you could write all of it down on one pad, but you need to have a second one, a duplicate, which is a second witness. So now you've got 2 witnesses to the 10 Commandments. So God gave you 2 separate witnesses, and that's identical. And so, but the Jews don't call, in the Jewish religion, it is not called the 10 Commandments. That's a Gentile Christian term. It's not called the 10 Commandments. It's called, the Jews call the 10 Commandments the stones of the testimony. And the stones of the testimony were 2. And the Bible reference works say that there were 2 small round stones that you could carry in the palm of your hand, and on there was written the laws of God. They were identical. And so they were referred to in Jewish religion today as the stones of the testimony. And being stones of the testimony, the word testimony, comes from, like, kids in school will have a test, or if you're a Christian and you're testifying, or if you're going to court, going to testify. And so the 2 stones were stones of the testimony. And it goes back to the word testai, the testi. So
it was testicles.
Yeah, and so therefore the 10 Commandments were actually the 2 male testicles. And it's called the stones of the testimony. And they were caught, and you carried them 2 round stones in one hand. And so the whole story of the 10 Commandments goes back to the old ancient Egyptian system of law.
Right.
Egyptian system.
They had the 10 Commandments.
If you were going to go into court against your brother or against your fellow man, in the Egyptian court, then the same is true today in the Jewish court, because they got it from the Egyptian. But if you're going into a court, you're going to war with someone, because you're at war with the court with somebody else. And so that's what we call it, a lawsuit today. If you went into a court with to go to court with somebody, you've got a lawsuit. But during the Middle Ages, the lawsuit was when you're putting on the steel armor, you're going to war with somebody, you put on the helmet, the steel breastplates, and the steel. And if you're going to kill them, they're going to kill you. So you're putting on your lawsuit. And so the idea was, in the 10 Commandments, was based on 2 testicles. And they were called the stones of the testimony. And you go back to the Jewish encyclopedia, the Jewish reference work, and you will of Moses confronting God. You will see Moses confronting God in the burning bush, and in the female. And the female was the burning bush, and he was still going on with the 2 testicles. And so, and today, we still have the same symbolism in Israel today, when you have the Jews at the Wailing Wall, and Jews are there praying at the Wailing Wall,
yes,
but they're always bobbing back and forth. If you watch news, you will see the Jews at the Wailing Wall are bobbing back and forth as they're praying.
Yes.
Well, what they're doing is they're having sex with God. That's what they're bobbing back and forth, back and forth. They're having sex with God. And the Hebrew reference works say that they're bobbing back and forth, having sex with the female part of God, which is called the Shekinah. And the Shekinah is Shekinah. And the Shekinah is the feminine part of God. Because in the Hebrew theology, God is both male and female. It's hermaphrodite, both male and female.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Jehovah, yes.
Genesis says God created Adam and Eve in his own image and likeness. He created them.
Right.
Well, how could he create Eve in his own likeness? Unless, of course, a part of God is female.
Well, for all we know, Jordan, Adam and Eve, Adam could have been a monkey and Eve could have been a lizard woman, right? I mean, well, I don't know.
If we are in indication, there's still a bunch of monkeys.
Yes.
Yeah, but the point being is that this Ten Commandments was not a Charlton Heston movie. Ten Commandments was the two testes, or the stones of the testimony.
Yeah.
And Moses encounters God in a burning bush, and you see in the biblical reference work, you see pictures of a woman in the bush.
Right.
And so the burning bush is the sexual connection of man with God. And so is encountering God. He's in sex with a woman. He's encountering God.
That's insane, Jordan. I don't know. I am starting to get a little feedback. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you all right. But okay. I'm getting a terrible feedback.
Terrible feedback.
I mean, I'm living with it, but
okay. Well, sorry, folks. I'm telling you, Jordan, I've been having so many attacks on the station. They really don't like what I say. I think that someone's out there with a little ELF freaking frequency trying to jam my frequencies.
Yeah, I know.
It happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does, unfortunately.
Well, you're coming
and that's probably what I'm hearing is some kind of a jamming that they're doing.
It's probably the damn Chinese, I'm telling you, that they got their hands on all that jamming equipment.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Anyway, Jordan, we'll try to make it through the technical difficulties, but we're speaking to Jordan Maxwell, esoteric scholar, researcher. Please visit his Jordan Maxwell Research Society. I'll tell you, I spend sleepless nights just researching all sorts of things. And I mean, so many things to research, Jordan. I mean, the actual word Nazi is Prince.
If you go on my website, the Jordan Maxwell Show. That's my website. Be careful to remember that if you're going to my website, it's Jordan Maxwell Show, SHOW, because there are other websites out there with my name on it, but they're not mine. And so if you go to Jordan Maxwell Show, you will see a banner along with everything else, but you'll see a little banner that says Research Society or Research Website. And you can click on that and join the Research Society. It'll tell you how to join. And when you join the Research Society, all that is just a different website on which I am putting all of my research work on from over the years. I've got a special research website with everything. So I've got all my audios and videos and documentaries and research papers and research articles and documents and all kinds of subjects and all kinds of places to go for highly recommended materials or highly recommended people or highly recommended subjects. So just go on my website, Jordan Maxwell Show, and click on the Research Institute, the Research Society, and join, and then you'll see masses of research stuff that I'm only putting on my research site. I'm not giving it to the public. anymore.
Right. No, it's a treasure trove, Jordan. It truly is. I mean, I can't tell you how much I've learned or have affirmed just by being on your research society. And one of those things are the occult world we live in with the words and the symbols, and how that in itself is a form of mind control over the people.
Well, of course it is. It was designed that way.
Right.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of material on that, but I have a lot more coming.
Amazing. Right.
I have about 4 terabytes. A terabyte is 1,000 gigs. I've got about 4,000 gigs of research material to go on to my research site, but there's only so much my webman can do each day.
That's right.
So he just puts it on as much as he can each day, and I've just got masses of information on my website now, but I've got masses more coming. So you might want to go on my website, Jordan Maxwell Show, and join my research website.
Oh, it's definitely well worth it. I mean, a lot of the things that we cover on this show, like why do cops wear Nazi boots? Well, because we're living in a police state. That's why.
Yep.
Right? No, but Jordan, about these symbols, everybody's up in arms about the Starbucks symbol and then the Pepsi symbol. You know, all these are very strategic symbols. I mean, the Starbucks symbol is literally, it could be Ishtar or the sirens that would kill, you know, the mermaids that would kill the sailors back in the day. It's scary stuff.
Yep, and unfortunately, most people are not aware of how powerful symbols are, and we see them all day long, but we don't realize how they embed themselves in your psyche and in your mind, and we are being misled every day to believe things which are not true by symbols and emblems and words and terms, because we don't know that we're being misled purposely.
But it's a Soviet conspiracy, and wait, there's more. I noticed on Mark Zuckerberg's shirt one time, he was wearing an Arm & Hammer shirt. I mean, that's more than just baking soda, right, Jordan? I mean, who is Arm & Hammer?
That's right. First of all, Arm & Hammer was the name of a businessman, a little Jewish businessman back in 1940s and 50s, and especially in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Arm & Hammer was a very big name in international business. His name was Armin, and his last name was Hammer. So Arm & Hammer became Arm, A-R-M.
Sounds kind of Nazi. Sounds like kind of Bavarian.
But Arm & Hammer was famous during the early 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. Around the world, he was famous for being one of the major financiers of the Soviet Communist Party.
Wow.
He financed the founding of the Communist Party with all of his American banker friends. A lot of American people were involved with financing the Soviet Union. Ford Motor Company, that's a whole another story. All the big corporations in America, the glass companies, rubber companies, oil, Exxon, Standard Oil, all these big corporations were supplying Adolf Hitler and Nazis with oil, with banks, with troop carriers, jeeps, tanks, airplanes, fuel. All of that stuff is being supplied to Hitler because Hitler didn't have a neck, he didn't have anything.
Oh, he was a bum.
All of a sudden, he grew one of the largest military industrial complexes on the earth in Germany. When Germany was broke and starving, and lost the war, World War I, they lost, and starving streets. And then Hitler comes along and builds the largest single military industrial complex the world's ever seen, where he had tanks and submarines and rockets and standing armies, and it was all over Europe and all over Asia. And he was taking on Russia and taking on England, and he was taking on the whole world. and he was well equipped and well fed, but nobody ever asked the question, where did he get the money?
Right, it was those German financiers and people like Armand
People like
Hammer.
Rockefeller and George Bush.
Yes.
George Bush and George Bush Sr. and the Bush family, they were heavy contributors to the Nazi Party and to Hitler himself, George Bush.
Right.
So you need to go back and do your homework on the Bushes.
The Scherf,
and also
Scherf family.
England, the top people in England, they were also financing Adolf Hitler and sending him materials and oil and munitions and all kinds of stuff. So it's one hell of a story about how the world has really been working from day one. And there is no such a thing as the communists are hating the Nazis and the Nazis hating the communists. No, they all work the same. They all work together.
Absolutely. And that hammer and sickle that they worship, Jordan, that's a very pivotal
That's a very
symbol.
arcane symbol.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's actually the symbol of the Germanic Brotherhood of Saturn. So they're worshiping a death cult.
Yep. And the Sith is connected to Saturn, the old man Saturn. At the end of the year and New Year's night, you always see the old man with the Sith and the little baby, which is the new year, is getting ready to be born on January 1st. And the old man is called Saturn, and Saturn with his Sith. And then when you take the Norse god, the old Germanic god, Thor, and Thor was the god who, in ancient Germany, was the northern god, and he had a big hammer, and so you
That's
cross
the same hammer.
of Thor with the Sith of Saturn, and you have the hammer and sickle, and this is where the symbol came from. But most people don't know that the hammer and sickle goes back to Germany. It goes back to the Holy Roman Empire. And it's just an incredible story about how much people don't know about the symbols of the war, and Hitler used the same. As a matter of fact, Russia during the Second World War, the Soviet Union, the Communist Soviet Union, published money, their money in the Soviet Union, and on their money, and the Soviet money during the Second World War. On their bills were big swastikas. In the middle of the bill is a big swastika. And so when you see the swastika, you think of Adolf Hitler. No, that's on the Russian money. Russian Soviet communism's money has a swastika on it.
Oh, well, today, Jordan, just look at our dime. If I flick a dime at somebody, then, it's tails, then they catch it, they look at it, like, oh, well, what are you trying to show me? I'm trying to show you a bundle of sticks, stupid. It's fascism. It goes back to Italy and Mussolini. I mean, Hitler and Mussolini used the same logo that's on the back of the dime.
Yeah, well, today we call fascism a coalition. The word is coalition. And so when you hear George Bush talking about the war in the Middle East, and he was always happy to say, well, it's not just America there, not just America. We have many other countries there with us. And it's a wonderful coalition. A coalition meaning there's other countries in there with us. There's not just us. There's England, there's France, and there's Germany, and there's other countries that have sent their troops over to the Middle East, so it's a coalition.
Right.
And that's supposed to sound very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
What a coalition is a bundle of sticks. Each stick represents a country. So you put all the countries together in the Middle East. It's called a coalition.
Wow.
So it's not a coalition. It's a bundle of sticks, because the idea of the Roman Empire was that if you have one stick, it's not going to be very impressive. You can't really do much with a stick. If you have two sticks, well, that's a little better than one, but it's not that hot. But if you could get 3 or 4 sticks together, well, now maybe you come at a guy with 4 heavy sticks tied together, that's a little bit more severe.
That's right.
But if you come against somebody with, say, 10 heavy sticks tied tightly and have an axe head on it, now you've got some strength. Now you've got some strength because you've got 10 sticks tied tightly as one.
That's pretty intimidating.
Now it's 10 times stronger than the one stick. And now you've got an axe head on it, which means you're going to kill somebody. You're going to cut their heads off. But not just one stick. All 10 are going to do it. And so all 10 going into the Middle East in a war, we call it a coalition. No, call it what it is. It's fascism.
That's right,
It's
Jordan.
corporations all around the world joining together to hit another company or another country that doesn't want any part of your coalition. It doesn't want part of your operation. So all 10 of you, a gang, went, and so it's called a coalition. No, it's not a coalition. It's fascism.
It sure is, Jordan.
You're listening to MBN Montalvo Broadcasting Network.
Be sure to visit us at Conceptual Subculture on Facebook. Like us on Facebook for the most beautiful handcrafted sterling silver jewelry. Everything from sterling silver, copper, you name it. We solder it ourselves. We handcraft it, repousse, beautiful sterling silver jewelry. Support the show, Montalvo Broadcasting Network, by visiting etsy.com/shop/conceptual subculture.
Tribal, primitive, rustic, Burning Man, punk rock. Conceptual subculture for the edgiest, most cutting edge designs of jewelry today. Go to etsy.com/shop/conceptual subculture, or one word, either by going to Google or search Etsy, ETSY.com, and type in one word, conceptual subculture. You will find the hottest designs using natural stones with wire wrap rings, rough, raw, genuine, semi-precious gemstone jewelry, solid sterling silver, copper, leather, organite, bracelets, pendants, chokers, men's copper cups with sterling accents, eco-friendly, repurposed, original, one-of-a-kind design earrings. Support MBN by going to Conceptual Subculture on Etsy. Go to Antique Obsessions for the hottest in jewelry, antiques, repurposed, solid sterling silver, one-of-a-kind, handmade by Bruce and Jaja. Go to our Facebook, which is Antique Obsessions, or you can go to Etsy.com and go to Antique Obsessions, one word, or type it into your Google and find us there. Thanks.
When tracking the domestic dust bunny, you commonly find them hiding under wardrobes next to lost socks. Don't move too suddenly or they'll scurry off. What's utterly fascinating about the dust bunny is that although they are not actually sentient creatures, when they hear that Geico not only saves people money, but also has a 97% customer satisfaction rating, it's obvious to them you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. Oh no, it's the dust bunny's only natural predator. Run along, dust bunnies, run along.
Banner University Medicine is dedicated to bringing the best medical care to the Tucson community. Our newest hospital was designed with your health in mind. With 228 private patient rooms, 22 operating rooms, and more than $50 million in patient care technology, your care and comfort are our top priority. Banner University Medicine, making Tucson's future brighter and your visits easier. Now open at 1625 North Campbell Avenue. Online at bannerhealth.com/University Tucson.